guys, welcome back to the channel. We are at the computer today, and I figured in this video we'll do a little bit of an update on what's going on with the car. So in the last video you saw the installation of the new big brake kit, and that was maybe 2-3 weeks ago at this point. I had the chance to drive around town with the new kit and had to bleed it a couple times, but they feel great. And I'm super stoked with the setup and very excited to try it out at the track. I actually did sign up for a NASA event on March 14th over here at Sonoma Raceway. But after signing up, I realized that there are some safety requirements that the car does not meet, which sort of is the premise for this video. Right, so it ends up that there's two different things that can happen with the car, and it really revolves around the bucket seat that I have in the for the driver's seat. The bucket seat was put in about a year ago, and I run the factory 3-point harness with it. According to NASA's kind of rule book, for me to run a bucket seat, I either have to have a 4-point ASM anti-submarining harness or a 5-point or a 6-point harness. I looked at the ASM harness, and the only company that I think makes them is a company called Schroth, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and they don't make it for my year Subaru. And the rule book clearly states that it has to, one, be made for that car, and then the tag on the harness has to call that out, and they do not make one for that particular year and model. So that 4-point harness is out the window. That's not a possibility, which really leaves a 5 or a 6-point harness. If I read the rule book correctly, you can actually run a harness bar in the car, and usually a harness bar would be some sort of bar that connects the two B pillars on the car, and then might mount to the floor or attach to the floor in some fashion. I've never had a harness bar in my car. I don't think that's the right way to go about installing a 5 or a 6-point harness. So that really only leaves me with the option of putting a half cage into the car, or a roll bar into the car. That was ultimately going to be the direction that I took the car in, but the discovery of the rules and the safety requirements by NASA have kind of accelerated that process. So what has happened is that I've actually put the track day on hold. Reached out to NASA NorCal and had them actually hold the credits, or apply a credit to my account so I could roll it over to another event. And then I reached out to a local roll cage fabricator. His name's Tony at TC Design. I've heard of Tony over the last few years, and his work comes highly recommended. And then actually had a chance to look at a half cage or roll bar that was installed in a V8 chassis STI that was owned by one of the local guys around here. And the cage looked amazing, the work looks amazing, that car is amazing. So I'm excited to have Tony do the work, or TC Designs and the guys over there do the work. Right in the middle of scheduling some time to bring the car down there. Unfortunately, they're packed, right? So the car probably won't be able to get down there for another 2 months. But in the meantime, it gives me a lot to think about. Right? Obviously, I used to carry a bunch of tools to the track and an extra set of rims to the track. How is that going to work out with my back seats gone? And most likely a portion of my trunk missing, all right, because they do need to weld to kind of where the rear seats meet in front of the strut tower. So I'm assuming that kind of flat area where I throw some wheels on are going to be gone. And then I started looking at other safety gear, right? So we're looking at this half cage. got to think about harness, and I actually realized that the seat that I have also doesn't work for me. Um, my shoulders are too high. So if you think about a standard harness, like a 6-point, you've got 2 lap belts, 2 submarine belts, and then 2 shoulder belts. Originally, when I bought the seat, I didn't take into account the fact that I have a very long torso. And so what that means is when I sit in the seat, my shoulder blades actually block the 2 holes for the shoulder straps, which is sort of a big no-no. You don't want. There's all sorts of design rules around safety, and I think that you don't want to be within. You want to be within 0 to -10 degrees of how the seats run through the holes and meet the harness bar or the roll cage or the roll bar. And just by eyeballing it, I think the seat is the wrong size for me. I think I need to get what they would call like a tall seat, or a seat specifically designed for people who are taller with longer torsos, which will raise the 2 holes up higher. So there's a can of worms there that also needs to be dealt with. And then also inspecting the current seat with the submarine, the holes for the submarine belts. I can tell the data logger is directly underneath it. It's going to interfere. So there's a couple things that need to be done, and I do have some time, I guess, in the next 2 months to do that. I need to relocate the data logger, probably redo the wiring because I'm not the greatest at that, and it was kind of haphazard. I need to find a new seat. And then prepare the car in terms of removing everything out of the back of it so that when I drop it off, the guys at TC Design can just go straight to work. I'm inclined to pull the Sparco seat out and just let TC Design help fit me, or help me find a new seat, only because I think when they design kind of the main hoop to the roll cage or the half cage, they're going to also decide where to put the bar that the harness will connect to. So, how high that is in relation to the seat might play a factor. So it's probably best that they help measure me and help me find a seat and help decide where that kind of harness bar is going to be. So we'll see here. It's going to be a work in progress. I think that's about it in terms of safety. Also got to figure out getting a Hans device. I don't know. We'll see. And then the choice on seats between a Halo and a non-Halo setup. The whole thing with trying to go with NASA has opened a can of worms that really is going to push back when I take the car to the track. So I think at best, the car is not going to see the track until maybe May or June. So we'll keep you guys posted. You might not see too many videos. And really, this brings up a great point of kind of building the car for a class. If you're just kind of building the car for fun and just want to take it to high performance driver education events, that's great. But if you ever feel like you're going to do some autocross class racing or some time trial racing, or go with more of a sanctioned body like NASA, where they have more regulated rules, before you start dumping money into the car, it's worth it to read through the handbook, so you don't make mistakes like I have, right? Obviously now I have a seat that I've got to turn around and flip and sell, probably at a loss, or repurpose for something else. So just a heads up, if you guys are looking to do any of that, definitely read the rule books before you start modifying. That way you can save yourself some time, some money, and probably some pain while you're at it. I think that's all I have for today. If you guys have questions about this whole process, let me know. I'll try to make videos and keep you guys updated as we go along. And until then, we'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching.